Hi guys. Today's before processing this session, I recommended to watch the part 1. So today I am going to explain. I will create one pipeline job in the Jenkins. So in that pipeline job, I will create the 4 stages. One is pull the source code from Git. Means it will pull the source code from the Git. It will create the one workspace in the that corresponding pipeline job. So Git is my source code repository control. Second stage is testing. In this testing, I'm going to test the Angular applications. Testing means like I will execute the test cases, whatever the developer going to written in that Angular app, as well as whatever the test cases written by the web API in that application. Today I'm going to execute the test cases within the testing phase. So in build and deployment phase, in build and deployment stage, to build the Angular application as well as API applications. After building, it will generate the artifacts in the corresponding destination location. In fourth stage, I am going to execute in database deployment stage. I'm going to execute the SQL scripts in my SQL server, corresponding SQL production server. So let's flip to Jenkins window. So this is my Jenkins job. This is my Jenkins window. So I'm creating new job, Angular. I'm going to create pipeline job. Click on OK. So here you can write the project description. So my project is parameterized. So before because I have like Angular project as well as web API project and database project. So I'm going to use parameterized. So I will choose choice parameter. So it's taking time consuming. I will copy already I created one job pipeline job, so I will copy from there. So I choose choice parameter. The name of my choice parameter is something like ID of the choice parameter. I have environments like QA and UAT. So within the single job, we can deploy our source code, means our artifacts into different environments like QA or UAT productions. So I will read the description. After that, I will create the one. So I have 3 projects. So I want to display that all the 3 projects. Means before going to user click on the build button, means before going to build the project, user going to select the which project we are going to deploy, either only web part or service part or database part. If you have changes in only service part, means you can execute only service part before going to build. User going to give the input to corresponding job, means it will going to execute corresponding portion of the project only. So I'm going to add one more parameter like extend that choice parameter. So copy the name of the extended choice parameter. So basic parameter type, I am choosing the checkboxes. By default visible items 5. So my checkbox values is by default visible items 5 or whatever. currently I have choice parameters only 3, so you can write anything 5 min, whatever the quantity you can display in that window. Remaining it's going to display like drop down, means in drop down it's going to my checkbox values. Delimiter is comma, it will take automatically. Comma separated. So default value is Angular by default. It's going to select first one. So what the options we are going to display, like 3 options: Angular or Web API. This is description, it will going to display. Delimiter is come. Sorry, delimiter is comma. Click on apply and save. So try to click on previously, if you don't have any parameters, means it's going to slow only build but. So if you have any parameters, means it's going to display with build with parameters. If you click on build with parameters, it's going to show like this. And let's see, I did something mistake. Q deployment environment basic parameters. Oh shit, the values is not going to save. So checkboxes. This delimiter will come automatically. So I lose my changes. So I will do copy from here and paste. This is my values of the checkboxes. I selected 3 values, means it will create the 3 checkboxes. So by default my I'm going to choose my default value is like Angular. So that value description, okay, Angular and Web API, and click on apply. Now we are able to see. I have 3 applications. One is Angular, Web API, and database. This 3 is related to single project. So this 3 is related to my one Angular application. So I can create before deploying like this. Before giving the build, user going to select either Web API or default. But I cannot check anything. So I given the option to user. By default, it's Angular project going to check. Let's say so go to configure, go to pipeline job. So here I already told I have 4 stages: pull the source code from Git, testing, and build and deployment, and database. So I will create here test cases. This is the time consuming. I have pipeline job. So paste here. So this is my environment. I will explain this script later. I have source control like Git. I am using Git. So go to my public repository. This is my branch. This is my repository. Sorry. This is my Git URL. So by entering this URL, I am able to pull all the source code in the Git repository. See, I have one Angular project. So I copied this small example in the Google in the cloudplex.com. So this is my Angular project. This is my SQL scripts. So in SQL scripts, like I can create the scripts every time changes within the folders. So whenever you are going to deploy, and the time it's going to create the one for we are going to create one folder and put in that folder as our scripts. So whatever your methodology you are following, if you are using sprints, means you can put in sprints. So second sprint, like that you can divide our DB changes within the folder. You can before executing the scripts, we will give the uh, whatever the folder user created in that database project. Will give that folder name. After that, web API. This is my web API project. I took from Google. So this is my Git URL. I entered, pull the source code from latest. It's going to pull the source code from Git. So it will create them. This is my local workstation of the Git repository project. So whatever I change in local, so I can push my source code into Git repository. This is my Git local repository folder path. So I will click on apply. It's going to pull the source code from my workspace within this current job. After that, it's going to I created one script. I am passing the whatever user selected options, so deployment environment, either it QA or any QA or production or UAT. Here deployment project, which project user going to deploy either web API application or web API service or Angular application or only SQL changes. So user going to give that input. I am going to pass my scripts. This is my I written some of the Angular script here. So this is my script. Currently I am going to explain like QA, how we are going to publish means how to publish our source code in the QA environment. So I have some locations like my Angular IIS location. This is my API IIS location, means web API service location. So this is my SQL server. Currently I'm using this table. I don't have any data. Sorry. Here before deploying any application, this is the application backup. Before starting any deployments, application is going to set the backup. Here I written the backup code for all the web application as well as that Angular application as well as web API application as well as SQL. Here application going to set the offline mode. Here in IIS by default I have one page, offline page. So using that file, I can give the user to offline page. Here I am going to back up the SQL, all the SQL related changes with. So after this is going to build the API services. After that, if you are before building, we are going to restore our NuGet packages as well as how that our SQL scripts going to execute. I will give them my folder path, SQL source path, include it will. After that, it's going to pull the source code from Git. It will create a source code to a Jenkins workspace. In that workspace, will give in that workspace, it will pick and execute that source code, means that scripts in the SQL server. So this piece of code going to help to execute our uh, in SQL server. This is here I'm going to use if you are going to execute Angular, if you are going to execute only Angular project, means it's going to this part going to execute. If you are using, if you are in that build parameter, if you check only Angular, so this portion of piece of code going to execute. In this piece of code means I written like stage in Angular stage before starting that I will take the backup and I will set the offline mode. Then I'm going to execute the test cases. Ng test is used to test that application. After that I will build the project. Ng build means it's going to build the project. By default delete if you are ng build and configuration QA are prod, so means it's going to delete that destination publish that dist folder automatically if you are using that delete output path. By default it is true, so I'm going to set to false. I don't want to delete my IIS published that destination destination path of that application. I don't that published destination path I don't want to delete, so that's why I'm going to use the delete output path. Similar way here while using API means if you are going to set that application backup and it will going to set the offline mode, then its corresponding test cases will going to execute, and after that this web API means NuGet. Definitely we are going to restore our NuGet packages. After that we will build our web API project. It will generate the address in the corresponding destination location. So if you coming to DB, if you are using DB stage, this is I am forcefully passing the PowerShell file stage. If database stage, then if you user select only database stage, then it's going to execute database related. Set the SQL backup. It will take all the SQL backup. Then it's going to execute the SQL scripts. So let's start. Let's run our job. I don't. This is my database, QA database. So I have in QA database I have only one table. So I don't have any data. So I'm going to insert some data. So let's flip to Jenkins. So click on save. Now click on build. I have changes. So today I'm going to explain only QA environment. So QA production, anything you can select whatever you wanted. But today I set up the configuration within the QA environment only. So if user select, I have changes in all the projects. Let's assume I have changes in all the projects. So I'm going to execute and click on build. I hope this build going to fail because it's initially taking the pull the source code from Git. So once if you are pulling the source code from the Git means right now we are using the Angular application, so it's not Angular application will not take the ng modules like it's not going to pull the ng modules. If you are using any Angular application, means ng module, we require ng modules. See, we required this folder. Right now I don't have ng module repository. Go to Angular project. In my source control, I don't have ng module folder, so I don't have any Angular CLI related build libraries in my module, so I need to install. So let's go to that. So let's open compare. So it will pull all the source code from the Git. This is my last commit check-in messages. So my backup is started. See, failure. Application backup is completed. My Angular application went offline. This is my Angular application before deploying. Let's say it's my I open still last now. So if I did, it's my application is going to offline mode, because after taking the backup, application is going to went offline mode. So right now my application is offline. So let's see what's the error. So we don't have ng module, so that's why this build is went wrong. So let's go to script. So this is the API part. This piece of code is help us to install that ng module. Let's save. Build. It will take a little bit time. Here ng module is going to install. That's why it will take time. It depends on our network. If internet speed is fast, it's going to download all the packages with immediately. Otherwise, it will take the time. See, my build is failed because if you are installing any packages, suppose if you are using npm to install such a packages, means on the time you also some warnings and error messages will come in that npm console window, red color. You are able to see some exceptions. That too, this is warn messages, not error messages. So in PowerShell, it's considering as a error message. Because of that, it's going to throw the exception, because I written code like that after executing. Right now, this is I commented. After installing the packages, if that packages is successfully installed, means if it is executed successfully without warnings and any error messages, means it's that that last exit code will going to show 0. Otherwise, it's going to throw 1. So right now I am getting while installing the packages, I am getting some warnings in the npm. It's not exceptions, only warnings. So in warnings also, it's considering as some kind of the exceptions. That's why I'm getting that's why my build is failed every time. So I think that node module is installed in my workspace, Jenkins workspace location. So no need to use that script. No need to, this piece of code is not required to again and again. I think when it's required, while this going to execute the latest packages, whatever you changed in that package.json file in Angular, it's going to install every time. So I will think about these warnings. I will let you know after that. If I get the free time, I will let you know these warnings, how we are going to overcome. It's not how to handle this kind of without warnings. I hope your system. I think in production environment we are using proper configurations and everything. So on the time, I think we didn't get it such a warnings in production because it's my local mission. Might be some issues in my local mission. That's why I'm getting such a exceptions in production. Such a systems, I think we don't get such a error messages in production environments. So if you are using in production means definitely we need to uncomment this piece of code to every time to execute the whatever the packages in the in that Angular applications and package Angular.json sorry package.json whatever the dev dependencies are there, it's every time it's going to install every time. Every time this corresponding version is going to if you are updating any version here, this piece of code is going to download the corresponding latest version or degrade version of that package in our workspace location. So right now I'm commenting this piece of code. So I'm commenting this piece of code. Next time onwards, I get all the ng modules in my local workspace. Next time onwards, I don't want to download again this ng module. So ng modules. Let's say let's go to flip to AngularJS again. Again, I will click on build. So in this build, I am not updating my package.json file. I'm not going to take the latest packages as per the package.json configuration, because already my packages are already downloaded to corresponding Angular application. So click on build. I hope this build is going to success. Go to fourth build. My application backup is started. My application is already in offline mode. So my Angular testing is started. So right now my Angular test cases means will is internally it will going to execute karma and karma like that Angular is going to execute. Right now I am using a browserless Chrome, like it will execute internally without opening any browser. That browser will going to execute all the test cases, and the test cases will going to shown here. So browserless, I written the command like ng test watch false. It will going to execute without browser and execute the test cases and return the test case results. If any test case is failed, so it will return the result as false. So all the test cases is passed, then only this code be given to return as true. See, my Angular application is started. All the test cases is success. So again, after successing my completed my testing pages, so after that my case is I selected all the applications, right? Web API and Angular. So Web API backup is started. After that, Web API Web API backup is completed. After that, my Web API is went to offline mode. This is my Web API services. So If I enter, click on enter, this is also went down. See, down. So here web API related, if you have written any test cases, it's going to execute here web API related test cases. After that, third stage is build and deployment stage. In this build and deployment stage means it will build the Angular application as well as web API application and publish the corresponding artifacts into corresponding destination locations. So here I written the source code like for build the Angular applications. Uh, See, to build the Angular applications, this is the my build command to build the Angular sorry to build the Angular applications and publish the my artifacts into this location. This is my IIS Angular API location. Sorry, IIS Angular location. So where I hosted in my Angular application is this one. This is my configuration. So configuration, we can customize our configuration. So I am planning to execute QA environment configuration. You can put in prod. So if you are using QA means you need to create the TypeScript file in Angular applications like in within the environment. I written the QA dot environment.qa.ts file. So in this build, it's going to execute this it will use this service URL and execute this environment. So let's go to my our build. Yeah, coming to build. See, your Angular build started. My build is see my Angular build is successful and deployed. After successing Angular build, web API build is started. Before executing web API, so we need means before executing web API service application, means before building the web API service application, we need to restore our packages of that web API application. After restoring my restore is already installed. So after that, web API application build is started. This is my web API build. If you put the some comment like verbose false, you didn't get this much of logs. After web API, see my build is successful. So last stage is database part. So before executing in database deployment, we need to give the means where your SQL scripts are, which folder want to execute in your SQL script. So I have right now SQL scripts is two folders. Go to SQLDB scripts is my project folder 1 and folder 2. So I can give the folder names. So whatever you can follow, whatever the either string folder name, whatever you want to like to execute, you can give the input to from this stage. I am giving the input to 1. So right now it will execute the folder 1 related one. See, right now my application is still down. Go to this is my QA environment. I don't have any records right now. Oh, sorry. I hope script is executed. Shit. Okay. My script is executed. That's why my your application backup is started. My application backup is done. So backup is successfully completed. After that, your database script is executed. So database is executed. So after that, my Angular application went live. After that, the web API application went live. See, my both. This is my API service is still offline. This is my Angular application. It's still in a still because previously is offline. So I'm going to refresh. Now I am able to access my Angular application, whatever I published and whatever my data is. Now I will get some data here. Let's. This is my API. my service is active, then I am able to see the records, so I can edit anything. See, my record is successfully. Let's go to database and check it. I entered like office as QWERTY, something office as QWERTY. So if I execute this scripts is updated. So if you want to delete a QA first user, so it's going to delete. So my record is deleted successfully. So now I have 4 records. If I go to database and I execute, if I get the only 4 records. So this is my API. So this is all about how the stages is going to deploy from single point click. Within the single point click, we updated means almost we executed 3 projects, corresponding projects within the applications. Like that, we can do the changes in the, so we can execute such a things. So I took this Angular application in the Google, so that guy I copied from this entire source code from that codeflex.com. So this is all the process about how to deploy the application, the single point click. So that's all about today. In next video I'm going to explain like how if test cases fail, how negative cases, how to fail, how to suppose if in next video I'm going to show you how how to execute different environments in a prod and a QA. This is my prod TS file. You can give the service URL different one. Here QA you can give the different service URL. How different environments we have different service that web API service URL. In web API also we hosted in different environments in different URLs. So how to consume that services corresponding environment. We can set up that thing, as well as we can display we can using in how to web transform config, like if you go to and check the web API build. So I am using QA. Go to, where is my build application, build and deploy the web API application. This is the, so right now my configuration, because basically we are using release, because I am using the web transform config, so no need to exclude our web.config files. Without excluding web.config file, we can use transform config. We can achieve that thing. So this is my config, means here sorry, in this configuration file we will set up the what is the different in different environments, like database is different names in different environments. So such attributes we can keep here. Suppose if you are using any application values in different environments in different values, so we can keep here and execute based on the environment that corresponding attribute, corresponding application value is going to execute in that going to move to that web.config file automatically, this transform config. So no need to exclude configuration files, because we can return the common application values within the common web.config file. So whatever the common in all environments we can write here. So what is the means different environments contain different values. So we can write that different values. Here I am using like connections because my database is QA here. Mm. This is my QA environment. If I am using development environment, my in development environment my database is a different name, like see in development environment database is dev. I am using dev database in development environment. In QA environment I am using QA. So this is the difference in both. So that's why I am using web transform config here. Whatever the different in different values, we can write the strings here, and we can set up that thing. The transform config we can do like this here. Go to this configuration manager. See here, go to and click on new, and suppose let's say UAT, and copy mode. We can copy always release, so it will copy the all the release release configuration automatically. Click on OK. Sorry. Come on, it's I think little bit slow in my PC. So it's completed. So now go to here and click on come on. Add config transform. Click on add config confirm. See, whatever I created UAT config transform will automatically created. You can return your UAT package, and suppose if you are doing in UAT environment, and means if you are deploying anything in UAT environment, here we can give the UAT. UAT. Yeah, this is a publish profiler. I am using like a file system publish path. So if you want, you can watch my previous video in .NET application. I think you are aware about that. In that video I explained. So this is all about how to transform, means how to deploy the Angular applications within the IIS server within single point click with the help of the Jenkins. With the help of the Jenkins. That's all about.